Hejsa. I'm unpicking some hexagons I sewed together years ago, because I'm not sure that they will be exactly the same size as the ones I'm making at the moment, because I'm using different papers now, and it's just easier to sew them together when they're all the same size. So today I thought I would show you my little sewing room, or studio as I call it sometimes, because it's not just sewing that happens in here. So I'll put this away for a minute, and then I'll take you on a little tour of my studio, which sounds a lot grander than it really is. And it's not so much a tour, it's more a pan the camera from one side to the other, and that's about it. So come and have a look. As you can see, it's not a very big space. The only place where it's got proper a wall that's usable is over there, because down there is the door to the garden, and here is a wall that's about 1 meter wide, and then there's a window. And because this is an extension to the house, this is the window to our kitchen, and behind me is the door between the studio and the conservatory, so you have to go in the conservatory to get to the studio. It's a little bit awkward, but hey, at least now I have a room where I can work and leave a mess. I couldn't do that where we lived before, in a flat or apartment. So let's have a little look around. So here's my sewing machine and a table, and this is our old dining table. I can add the other end of the table to make it really long if I'm working on a long or big project, but then it's a little bit of a squeeze over there by the other table. On these shelves I have mostly things to do with sketching and drawing. So we have some watercolors here, and this box is full of unused sketchbooks and some books that I'm using as a sort of altered book. And then we have just various random things here. Fabric and a box of beads and acrylic paints and who knows what. And I have a little chest of drawers here where I've got finished embroideries, or some of them anyway. You may recognize this one. Can't remember what's in the second one. Other embroidery things. Yeah, just lots of random stuff, as you do, right? And over here I've got just a few books. There's not a lot of room in this room to have lots of books, so I've just got a few favorite, like a couple of quilting books, And what else? Some papers and some quilting magazines. These drawers here, I'm really happy to have. They used to be in my paternal grandparents' knitting and craft shop back in the late 70s and early 80s. They've been at my parents' house until a couple of years ago, I think, when my dad asked me if I wanted them. And of course I said yes, because for one thing, they're useful, but also they were in my grandparents' shop. And I very vividly remember opening these DMC branded drawers, and it had lots of embroidery thread in there in all kinds of colours. I can't remember if it was stranded embroidery thread or if it was, you know, the balls of pearl cotton. But I definitely remember opening those drawers and they were full of colours. And up here I have more embroidery thread and my box of slow stitching stuff. And more fabric scraps and projects on the go. Right, let's have a little look in my fabric cabinet. I'm very pleased with how tidy it is at the moment. My husband would say that that's not tidy at all, but I think he is wrong. Look at it all nicely stacked, some of it even in color order. I mean, that is tidy, isn't it? But I assure you, this won't last long. As soon as I start pulling stuff out for the next project, it will just be a complete mess. But at least I have a picture of it to show me that I can have it tidy, even if it's just for the briefest of moments. I'm sure your fabric shelves are the same, or your fabric bins, or whatever where you keep them. So over here I have my embroidery thread stash. I keep thinking that I should put them in those DMC drawers from my grandparents' shop, but the DMC drawers don't fit on these shelves. They're too deep. So for now, this is my solution. And up here we have other sewing things and some washi tapes and various other bits and pieces. And in here I've got scissors and rotary cutters. They've been here and they're all marked. So this one, for example, I only used for paper, so it's got some tape on it. And the ones that are just for fabric, they have a bit of fabric tied onto them. And here's the other side of my sewing machine. I haven't had it that long, but I really like it. So on this wall over here, which you can probably tell is not very big, I got my embroidery hoops and I've tacked up various pictures. Now in this corner here is the one thing I don't like about this room, and that is our hot water boiler that makes the hot water for the radiators. But it has to be on an exterior facing wall, and this was the only place it could be. We have thought about moving it, but yeah, it's just nowhere else it can go in the house. But at least this one is a newish one. The old one was really old and really loud. And when we first moved here about 10 years ago, it was in an ugly, absolutely ugly brown cupboard that they had built around the heater. And although it's not my favorite thing to look at a heater, at least this is a more sort of a neutral thing, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. And underneath it is Blake's bed, one of his many beds in the house. And he likes to come in here and then start to get himself comfortable in the bed, and as he's doing so it moves further and further down this way. So that's what you can hear sometimes in the background of my videos. It's Blake trying to nest in his bed. Right, so thank you for joining me here in my little studio. I hope you enjoyed having a little look around. And this is where I do most of my work. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Maybe say hello in the comments. And subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. I hope you have a great day.